All in all, you weren't that bad as a person, as a man, she said. In the end, that's all that matters. Was I a decent person to those close to me? We go through life squandering chances until there are none, and I've been as guilty of that as any man. I don't know what it was about my chance encounter with my ex-wife that shook me so profoundly. We never spoke to one another after we got divorced. We were like two veterans of a war that nobody won. She married someone else. I married someone else. Her second husband is now in jail on charges of embezzlement. I imagine the bitterness with which her mind's eye pans across her life lands on the memory of me with a newfound tenderness. That doesn't make me feel vindicated, it makes me feel ashamed. Makes me want to be the kind of man that my second wife would mourn for the rest of her life. The kind of man that she would never get over. But it comes too late. The realization comes too late. Like a fistful of sand seeping through my fingers, the time runs out on me. Am I dying?
What?
Is this a deathbed speech?
I mean, it's a moment of reckoning, facing the possibility of death. We don't know what happens next, that's not the point. It's a metaphor.
Right.
What?
Interesting.
I think so.
And as I look out the window, yada, yada, yada.
Would you mind not yada yada in
last...
my writing?
Right, so I think that I might die.
The character thinks that there's a possibility.
Yeah, no, sure. You're writing it for me. I'm the inspiration.
I mean, we're on lockdown. I don't exactly have... inspiration.
Why? Why am I dying?
He caught the virus. He has an underlying condition, and sadly, he is...
Sadly. Now, are you sure about that?
Sadly, for him, yeah.
Yeah, you see there, that's better.
What? What's the issue?
It's a very, very curious choice.
Look, it's a metaphor, right? It's one man's lamentation over his life lived as though time were endless. It's what people are thinking.
Right. And what he's thinking, out of all of the things that he could be thinking, is how he wishes he had been a better husband, but alas, his time has run out.
That's not all he's thinking. If you care to read it, have you not read this
I have.
last night? First page.
I was busy.
I know, disinfecting the clothes, yeah.
Well, maybe if he'd come out and given me a hand, we'd have been done sooner, and then I could have learned more.
To disinfect the clothes?
Well, nobody else is doing it.
Because it doesn't need doing.
Yeah, according to you and your hippie conspiracy theory sources. See, now that I think about all the risks that I'm taking, I do all the shopping, I dispose of all the packaging.
Because you don't trust me to take the precautions.
Because you don't take the precautions, and I put it in the context of this morbid fantasy about your husband dying. Yeah, normal in Sweden.
What a fantasy!
Then
what?
It's so much easier to be careless about if you don't have an underlying condition.
Hypochondria is not an underlying condition, big man.
I've got chronic bronchitis.
You do not have chronic bronchitis.
You said yes. He catches the virus, he's got an underlying condition and he dies.
Exactly, it's not
Why
about you.
Why don't you write about yourself? Why don't you write about how you wish you'd been a better wife? Like the kind of wife that during a life-threatening crisis is able to set aside her compulsively dissenting nature and not undermine her husband every step of the fucking way. Or something else entirely. Anything at all. Hey, don't get me wrong, I mean, I applaud this ambition to write your own stuff. God knows, we all have it. But perhaps...
Go on, perhaps what?
Well, isn't it the mark of a true writer, the ability to, you know, invent a world from scratch and not just resort to typing up the things we say? I mean, you know, the first wife, it's clearly Louise. And just because you say she's the first wife and not the second wife, I mean, it's a pretty thin disguise.
I don't say the first wife and not the second wife to disguise anything, but rather to make the character more likeable. A man on his third wife is a joke.
Well, you're the third wife, so the joke's on you.
It is. It so is. Do you realise that when I wake up every morning, the first words I hear, they're not like, "Oh, morning, darling. How did you sleep?" They're numbers. The number of confirmed cases, the number of deaths, the number of excess deaths, the number of recoveries, the fact, and you remind me that they don't yet know whether or not you can catch it twice, so good luck to them, you say. You boil wash the clothes you wear to the supermarket. You've marked the shoes we wear outside. I wear shoes with X's on them. You're up till 3 o'clock in the morning, disinfecting the clothes with Dettol like a psychomaniac. You've disinfected that bitch because you don't trust the birds. Don't you flatter yourself that that speech is about you. That speech is about a normal person. And by the way, I'm writing for you because you're a fucking awesome actor and it's a delight to write for you. But by God, see if we were some of those people that had a second home, I would be out of here. I'd be out of here if they had checkpoints and machine guns every 50 yards. But we don't, do we? So all I've got, all I have, is this one little fantasy that one or other of us, and I would happily be the one, I would happily be the one, would go to hospital for a few days and then I could catch a fucking break. Oh.
So you think I'm awesome?
Oh, yes.
Does it mean, you know, you are prone to massive exaggerations?
Sure.
I mean, this is... It really, really is good. No, I'm serious. I mean, it is a metaphor. His second chance is the world's second chance at something better.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
You do. Because I'm only using the bits of real life information as a kind of, it's like a springboard into this broader image of society.
I get it. It's really poignant.
You're not just saying that, are you?
No.
You're not humouring me.
No, I'm not. I'm not humouring you. Why would I humour you? You're not some shrinking violet that needs humouring. I'm an arse. I'm an arse. I'm nervous. I haven't done this for a while. I was up all night making the close a safe space for everybody.
I know you were, I'm sorry. We should all be really grateful.
Well...
Also, you really don't need to be nervous. You're terrific.
You know.
You think I'm a compulsive dissenter?
No, you just like to think for yourself. I mean, that sometimes. That's why this is so good.
I really think so.
I really, really think so.
Good, because the way I was thinking about it, we could make this so awesome.
Yes, well, that depends on who they get to direct it.
Yeah, true. Unless you were to direct it.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, you You'd be so good. You're so good with people.
Do you know what? See, if it hadn't been for those crippling divorce settlements, we could have had a second house.
Second house over tourists.
I couldn't love you.
Fucking love you.